The movie begins with Nora and Alec driving through the countryside on a quiet and unending road. Nora asks Alec how long it will take to reach their destination. He replies a couple of hours and apologizes for not knowing it would take this long. Nora asks him about the next rest stop and he tells her he is not sure. She wants to pee but declines his offer to pull the car over as she wants to relieve herself at a rest stop. They reach the rest stop, which looks completely abandoned and is in the middle of nowhere. They stop in front of the building and knock but nobody answers. Nora decides to go around the back of the building and Alec tells her that he'll wait for her in the car. When she gets there, she is concerned when she finds a wallet and a cell phone on the ground near an abandoned campfire. She finishes her business unaware of a human skull just a few feet away from her. They soon both get back on their way when they see a woman standing in the middle of the road. Alec stops his car and asks her what's wrong with her car. She's unsure how her car died. He offers her help and goes to get cables from his car. In the meantime, Nora asks the woman if she's from around here and they start talking. The woman then asks her where her ring is. Nora is taken back by her directness and replies that it is none of her business. Things take a turn for the worst when the woman and Nora get into an argument. Nora gets angry and tells her that they stopped to try and help her. The woman replies that she did not ask for their help. This annoys Nora and she tells Alec to get back in the car and they drive off, leaving the woman standing there. They soon arrive at the next stop and decide to get some food. We see the waitress coming over to them and she compliments Nora. While eating, Alec realizes that they are being watched by a weird man. Nora tells him that he is just being silly and it's probably because they are new in town. When they are about to leave, however, the man suddenly grabs Nora's arm and tells her they are not safe here. This shocks Nora and Alec is quick to intervene. They both quickly leave and jump back into their car. Alec is curious about what that man said to Nora, but she tells him it was nothing. Next, we see them arriving at a gas station where they ask the attendee where they can find a place for the night. The man tells them there is a place nearby where they can rent a cabin. When they leave, the attendee is seen staring at them very suspiciously. On the way, Nora tells Alec that she wants to check the place out before they decide to stay there. When they get there, Nora isn't sure about staying there and she tells Alec that the place makes her uncomfortable. Alec tells her there is nothing to worry about as there are so many cars there. When they get inside, Nora is still unsure, but Alex tells her to look at all the used plates on the table, so there must be people inside. They look around but are unable to find anyone. They decide to go upstairs where they are met by a man with a disfigured face. The man starts talking to them and tells them he will show them the cabin. Nora is clearly very unimpressed by this but reluctantly follows Alec. The landlord shows them their room and tells them he used to rent the cabin out to Boy Scouts and church groups. The man tells Alec he has had the place for a long time and took it over from a woman called Mrs. Anderson who died 4 years ago. The man continues to ramble on, but Nora asks him to excuse them as they are very tired. The man appears offended and walks off. Alec tells Nora that she was very rude to the man. She tells him that he repulsed her and wouldn't stop talking. As the couple sit down and continue to talk, they don't notice that the other bed in the room is covered with blood. Later that night, the couple are very tired and hit the sack. As the couple sleep, they are unaware that there is someone under the bed. The figure comes out and looks over them while they sleep. He leans towards them and we see he has a creepy sheep mask on. When Nora wakes up, she is horrified to find herself trapped in a cage. She tries to get out but it's no use. Suddenly, a man in a goat mask appears and starts banging on the cage, telling her to be quiet. When he leaves, she grabs a small rock and tries to open the lock. Soon another man arrives with a cow mask and Nora has no idea what is going on. The man then pours some kind of liquid on her and the screen turns back. Next, we see Nora trapped in a barn with her hands and feet tied by a rope and her legs wide open. A rabbit-masked figure enters the barn and injects something inside her. Nora screams and struggles but it's all in vain. She starts cursing the man and asks her what he has done to her. The man just leaves without saying a word. Later, we see the same two men come back and untying Nora. They pick her up and put her back in the cage. Nora is very tired and is unable to fight back. Outside, she is put in a cage and taken to another location. While being pulled, Nora realizes there's a whole community of the people in animal masks carrying out various duties. Nora is then dumped in a stable and is very concerned about what will happen to her. In the next scene, we see that all the captured men have been placed in tiny cages. When Alec comes to his senses, he finds himself with a muzzle over his mouth. He tries to scream out, but it's no use. He notices that all the other men are just sitting there quietly. Suddenly, 3 men walk in and hold one of the men with the pole and hit him with a hammer. They do the same to another man as Alec watches on in horror. Alec doesn't know what to do and becomes hysterical and starts shaking the cage uncontrollably. The men hear the commotion and walk over to him. When Alex tries to fight back, he is hit over the head with a hammer and knocked out. The men then put them all into a trolley and take them to the slaughterhouse. Next, a man with a pig mask is given a plastic bag with human limbs in there. He is seen casually walking through town. We then see him waving to another man waiting for him, and he puts the bag inside his office. He then walks over to the man and they pull out a cage with another captive from his car, which they transfer to the stables. We then see the man in the pig mask making his way to meet someone. That's when it is revealed that the man with the disfigured face is the man in charge. He tells the man with the pig mask that they need to prepare food for 80 people in 3 hours as they have a deadline to meet. We then see him angrily barge into the kitchen and tell the workers to prepare food as quickly as possible. The man then receives a call from the customer and realizes he will be early to pick up the food. He goes to the man with the pig mask and asks him to use the dairy livestock as they do not have enough meat. Next, we see lactating women in cages who have suction tubes put on their bosoms. We then see the man with the pig mask taking a baby from a woman. The man from the gas station Andrew sits and comforts the mourning mother, but she starts cursing at him. It appears as if the farm is being used to impregnate humans to produce milk and meat. All of a sudden, the men are called to the stables. When they reach there, one of the women are found dead with a piece of wood in her chest and Andrew's name carved on it. The leader orders men to find him. Meanwhile, Nora hears someone coughing. She discovers a woman in the stall next to hers who has been there for 2 years. She tells Nora she was impregnated to give milk. The farmers treat humans like farm animals, and now after so many miscarriages, she is unable to get pregnant anymore. When she tells Nora that it is impossible to escape, she freaks out and doesn't know what to do. Suddenly, she hears another woman cry from the other stall. The girl is called Ashley, was captured 2 weeks ago. When Ashley tells her she is petrified and doesn't know whether she will make it out alive, Nora tries to reassure her and tells her they will escape together. The leader is then seen telling his men to get rid of the woman who is unable to produce milk. They enter the stall next to Nora's. They untie the woman and finish her off. Nora, who is watching, is scared for her life and sinks down to the floor. When they finally leave, Nora is terrified when someone enters her stall and fears the worst. To her surprise, it is Alec who has come to try and rescue her. He tells her that they must leave now if they want any chance of escaping. They quickly make their way out of the stables, trying to avoid being seen. They come across a truck and Nora tries to start it. Unfortunately, one of the men hears and they have to make a run for it. Nora takes the injured Alec and hides as the man follows them. Luckily, the man leaves when he hears a bell. Nora and Alec continue to find a way to escape and see a church. Thinking that there may be someone there that might help, they go inside to find a mural on the wall. It appears to be a painting of Jesus and his followers. Their faces have been replaced by animals just like the people on the farm. Nora manages to get hold of a sharp object. Alex sees a man with a cow mask and they hide just before he enters the church. While he sits there praying, they decide to try and escape. As they leave, the floorboards make a noise and the man turns around and sees them. The man quickly gets up and rings the bell, alerting all the people on the farm. While the couple run through a field, Alec unfortunately gets caught in a bear trap. While trying to free him, she sees men approaching and has no other choice but to leave him there. When Nora looks back from a distance, she sees the masked group drop a huge rock on Alec's head. Nora breaks into tears when she hears Alec's skull get crushed. Nora is devastated but has no other choice and continues to run to save herself. She comes across some stables and hides inside. Nora sees a man inside a cage and begs him to tell her how to escape. The man tells her about a bus that the masked people use for transportation and tells her she'll find the keys in the office. She is seen leaving the stables desperately for her life. Strangely, Andrew and the leader see her running, but instead of chasing after her, they smile to each other like 6 psychopaths. Nora carefully hides as she makes her way through the farm. She sees a masked man driving away in a car and decides to follow. She picks up a hammer from the gas station, and when the masked man comes out of the vehicle, she hits him over the head and finishes him off. When she looks up, she is shocked to see the rest of the group of men running towards her. She quickly gets into the car and tries to start it. Just as the men are about to get her, she manages to drive off, leaving them behind. As she sees the men in the rearview mirror, she breathes a sigh of relief. Her joy, however, is short-lived. The engine cuts out and she has no choice but to leave on foot. Nora runs for her life, but the masked men begin to catch up with her. She decides to run into a building and makes her way down to the basement. She sees a window and desperately tries to open it. The men try to grab her, but somehow she manages to get out. Just as she is about to pull herself up, one of the men grab her foot. She uses the sharp object she has and stabs the man in his hand. She then manages to pull herself up and sees the bus the man told her about. Nora realizes that the stable's Ashley was locked is nearby and she decides to go and get her. She finds Ashley and tells her to come with her. Ashley is so scared that she tells her that she doesn't want to leave. She drags Ashley, and to their relief, they both make it onto the bus. Nora starts the engine and smiles as she has finally escaped. Suddenly, she sees Ashley just staring without saying a word. As she looks back, her worst nightmare has come true. She finds the bus full of masked men just sitting there quietly, and she realizes that she was lied to. She walked into a trap and her life will come to an end soon. We then see the masked men serving Nora and Ashley to the village with apples in their mouth, and the movie ends there. You guys are awesome if you have made it this far in the video. If you want to see more of such movie recaps, hit the subscribe button to become part of our movie family.